Hey everyone, Aaron here with Elite Watersports, and this video is all about hydrofoiling, and we're going to get into how to tune it, a couple different hacks, lots of pro tips, and well, just to meet your needs for the conditions you have for that day. So stay tuned and we'll get into the nitty-gritty. All right, here we are, guys. Let's start with the basics. Now, this video isn't just about you being a beginner to hydrofoiling. It's actually gonna appeal to a lot of the more advanced riders, maybe the advanced riders that haven't picked up these tips and tricks and hacks, right? So stay tuned, bear with me. Let's start with that very most basic thing, the setup, right? The setup as far as the board and the placement of that mast. If that mast is moved forward, that is always going to increase lift on your front foot. So if that mast is moving forward, it's increasing the lift of wherever that mast is, that center point, okay? If it's in the back of that board, it's going to decrease lift on that front foot. So to make a comfortable ride, it'll be a nice even stance, meaning not a lot of front foot, not a lot of back foot, so that both legs are being used simultaneously. As you progress as a pro, most riders are starting to increase lift, so they have more pump drive, so they have more feeling in their front foil, and also they can lay out their turns a little bit more aggressively. As you get into a turn, it actually decreases front lift, and more of that lift is increased on the back leg. So that's going to be on that pro side of stuff. So just remember, if you want to increase lift, move that foil forward in that box. So going with that whole placement of your mast and the lift, well, let's say that we went out for a ride and we really liked that current setup. We got the 1030 front wing and the waves are like waist high. It's working out really, really well for us. Maybe we're doing some kiting or whatnot. Let's go ahead and mark your board with a Sharpie. Now, if it's your board, why not, right? So I can put a little crow's foot right here, say like, hey, 1030 waist high waves, or 1030 and wind is at like 15 knots or something like that. Sure, it's a little technical, but at least we're making some marks so there's no guessing every time we take this mast off and put it back on. Even if you don't even want to get into the details, just put like boom, 1030, boom. Done, and you're going to remember next time. If you don't like it, well, don't mark it. Figure out that exact point, and once you figure that out, oh, it's easy. Just put that mast on and go. So you've just figured that exact spot out for the mast. That's the increasing lift or decreasing lift that works for you. Well, the next thing that we would want to get into is shimming your back wing. What that's going to do is increase lift, decrease lift, increase drag, or decrease drag. Essentially, you can actually have the same back wing and just simply change out that shim if your brand allows that, and it's going to allow you to have a way different feel for your foil. Most brands out there have actually gotten away from shims, and actually some of the newest brands like North are getting into having a shimless back wing with an option to throw in a shim if you desire. So it is something that we can definitely geek out on and tech out, but that's not this video. So check out our next video on how to shim your back wing. Okay, let's talk about where are you going to be standing on the board. I always say the golden rule of thumb is that I want to have as much board out in front of me for touch and goes. So if I touch the board down, the board has room to work. I'm not going to purl, I'm not going to go underwater, but that does change, like on the tech side, the pro side, the actual swing weight of the board. Now on this setup, I have a nice kick pad and I want to utilize that. So if I find that I'm going out there strapless and my feet are right here towards the front of the board, I'm going to actually shift that mast back in just 1 centimeter increments, and then that will shift me usually about an inch or two on the top side of the board. So 1 centimeter or so, golden rule, move that mast back. That'll move you about 2 inches back or so, depending on your actual foil. Now what happens if I'm all the way back with the mast? The mast is all the way back in the box, and my feet are still naturally placing themselves really ahead, and I still want to get my feet back here on the actual track pad. Well, that may be because you have a different brand board and a different brand foil. They don't match up. So what you could do is start working on back wings and changing those shims. So that's going to be on that techie side of changing the shim and the angle of attack on your back wing, your stabilizer. So ultimately though, for me, I want to look at that board and I want to place my feet exactly where that board was intending me to have those feet, right? And that's going to be my goal to make this setup work for me. Just by moving that mast and changing those shims on the back of it. Let's go for that really cool hack that I've learned throughout the years. Everybody's nuts are constantly being lost and their screws are always loose. Let's fix that. Put a piece of tape right here and now your T-nuts aren't going to fall off. Depending on that brand, depends on how big that hole is. And well, by putting that tape there, now that T-nut isn't going to fall off. But then you still risk losing the screw. The screws are always falling on the bottom of the bag or on the floor or on the back seat of your car. Well, take some of your Loctite and we're going to use that blue label, not the red bottle, okay? This is a red bottle, but a blue label. It's very important. Put a little bit of that Loctite on there, and then after it dries, it actually won't back out. It's actually a little bit tougher to screw them in, but those screws won't fall out randomly on you. So don't lose your nuts, don't lose your screws. Check this out. This brand actually has it, and there's also more brands out there, but it's basically just a piece of gasket material. So if your foil doesn't have this at the top of the mast, and that's that connection between the mast and the board, go down to Ace Hardware or something like that, O'Reilly's, grab some gasket and contact cement it to the top. What that's going to do is cause a little bit less vibration on the board, which is super, super nice. Your foil will be a lot smoother through the water. And also, you're not going to scratch so much on the board. If your, God forbid, if your screws ever got loose, it also kind of like locks that foil mast in place. So it's actually such a cool hack. Here's a pro hack on if you're out in the waves and let's say either the wind got stronger or the waves got bigger and you don't have that option to change your front wing. Maybe it's at home or you just don't have one. If those waves have gotten bigger for you, well, if you catch one, you're going to increase speed and you're going to increase lift, and that might throw you off, lose control. So what you can do is shift that mast back by like centimeters at a time and have like a big wave setting versus a small wave setting without having to actually go in and change your front wing or buy another wing. So it is a pro hack, save some money, or if you forgot your wings at home. So to reiterate is big waves, move that mast back a little bit so you actually ride the wave, not too much lift. And for smaller waves, increase that lift so you have a little bit more push and more energy throughout that wave. We hope you enjoyed this video. It's all about tuning and different kind of hacks and stuff to get you out in the water faster and enjoying your current setup. If you have any other questions, give us a call or leave it in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe to the videos. That keeps us motivated to keep these videos coming. If you have extra things to add, leave them in the comment section and we'll actually do a video on it if we accumulate enough of them. So this is Aaron with Elite Watersports, and we will see you on the water.